Now, this is where these names came from. NFL trade candidates from CBSSports.com. For the Browns, they had Hunt and Dearness Johnson. We are going to cherry pick some wide receivers that they say. So they say Patriots, Kendrick Bourne, and you see, you got Parker, Thornton, Myers, Aguilar, who are locked in there. Bourne's a veteran guy, had 800 yards last season. So that's a guy to keep an eye on. We've talked about this guy. So the Giants, Darius Slayton, and you see they have Tony, who was a rookie a couple years ago, who by all accounts has been really good, and Robinson. Couple of 700-yard receiving seasons. Here's another name that has been linked to the Browns, at least coming out of Philadelphia. Jalen Reagor, first-round draft pick, is only 23, which I didn't realize, was 21st in the draft. And you see, again, he's behind Brown, Pascal, Smith. Another interesting one, a young guy, Chenault from the Jaguars. You see they signed Kirk and Jones. You have, or Kirk and Zay Jones. They have Marvin Jones there as well. And then from the Lions, this guy's kind of intriguing as well. Cephas is a big target. They signed Chark, and then they also drafted Williams, and they have St. Brown, who was really good, and Reynolds. So Cephas is intriguing, a bigger guy, not a lot of speed, but a big target. All those guys are somewhat intriguing. You mentioned Slayton. Who do you like? Do you like any of those in addition to Slayton?
I think the number one guy that sticks out to me is Kendrick Bourne. The one reason I think that he stands out to me is because he's played so much he played for the 49ers for 4 seasons. He's got experience in the Kyle Shanahan offense, which is similar to what Kevin Stefanski runs in Cleveland. I would think the learning curve for Kendrick Bourne would be pretty small, and he could be able to get on the field and have an impact fairly quickly. I mean, you look at the numbers, 3 back-to-back seasons of 600-plus yards, 16 touchdowns in his career, all came within the last 4 seasons. He's just productive. He may not be a big play guy, but it's just another guy as a professional out there. He knows how to catch the football. There's a lot of good things to like. I like the idea of trying to buy low on Laviska Shenault. The Jaguars were a mess last season offensively. I don't think that's a secret. And it's also clear that they're trying to remake this team. I mean, you don't pay Christian Kirk $22 million if he's not going to be the number one guy right now. Whether he stays the number one guy is unclear, but it's clear that, Shenault maybe needs somewhere else to go. And you would imagine someone who's as creative a coach as Stefanski would figure out how to work with him. Quintez Cephas also seems like an interesting chess piece, an interesting young player. I mean, you look at his numbers, not a lot of work in his career. I mean, just 35 receptions, 553 yards, 4 touchdowns. But then you look at the Lions depth chart receiver, why he could be available. Amon-Ra St. Brown on the 4th round, who was one of my favorite receivers in the 2021 draft, was a steal. He's tremendous. I think he's only going to get better. And of course, they signed DJ Chark in the offseason. So not much room for him. And with Jalen Reagor, I know there was a lot of hype around him being a first-round pick, and he hasn't lived up to the hype. And I get the idea of the change of scenery, but I don't know if he's shown enough to kind of be worth it. I would kind of be in a wait and see with that, is kind of like show me a little something, because we all know he was taken just before Justin Jefferson. I think that's kind of what plays into some of the perception around him, and that he just hasn't quite living up to the hype of being a guy that was drafted before, now one of the best receivers in the NFL. Yeah, there are some interesting pieces, and again, those are that's from CBS Sports. Those are guys that the talk is they may be available, and it would be a mid to late round draft pick, and I'm sure it's something that the Browns will look into.